Welcome to History Ignited, the podcast that explores history through the lens of Billy Joel's iconic song, We Didn't Start the Fire. I'm Caroline.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew. Today's a really special episode because we're at episode 15. I can't believe it. We still have 100 episodes to go. So much more to learn. Thanks to all of you for listening and supporting us.
Yes, thanks everyone. This has been great fun so far. By the way, I'm Amy.
And hi there, I'm Dave.
Today we are talking about the Rosenbergs. Andrew, can you start us off?
Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were a married couple who became famous in the early 1950s. They were accused of espionage for the Soviet Union during the Cold War.
Espionage? What's that?
It means they were spies, essentially.
That's right. They had access to secret information at Julius's job, and they also convinced other people to give them secrets that they could provide to the Soviet Union, which is now called Russia.
And what was the Cold War?
That was a period of tension between the United States and the Soviet Union after World War II. Both countries were trying to gain more power and influence around the world. They were also building lots of nuclear weapons, aka nukes.
These were powerful weapons that could destroy entire cities. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were accused of passing secret information to the Soviet Union about how to make an atomic bomb. This was a huge deal because the United States wanted to keep this technology to itself as a secret.
What happened to them?
In 1950, the Rosenbergs were arrested and put on trial. The trial was very controversial because there were lots of different opinions about whether they were guilty or innocent. Some people thought they were spies and others thought they were being unfairly targeted because of their political beliefs.
The trial lasted for about a month in 1951. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were found guilty and sentenced to death. This decision caused a lot of debate and protests around the world.
Despite many appeals and requests for clemency, the Rosenbergs were executed on June 19, 1953. They were the first civilians in the United States to be executed for espionage during peacetime.
Why do people still talk about the Rosenbergs today?
The case of the Rosenbergs is still being discussed today because it raises questions about justice, fairness, and how fear can influence decisions. During the Cold War, people were very afraid of communism and the Soviet Union, which affected how the Rosenbergs were treated.
This period is known as the Red Scare, where many people in the United States were accused of being communists or communist sympathizers, often without solid evidence. We talked about this before in our episode on 𝗵𝗶𝘀𝘁, who led many of these accusations.
Years after their execution, evidence since came to light that suggests Julius was indeed involved in espionage, but Ethel's role was much less clear. This adds to the debate about whether they both deserved such a harsh punishment.
And the story of the Rosenbergs is the reminder of how important it is to ensure that trials are fair and that justice is served, especially during times of fear and uncertainty.
Before we wrap up, let's end with a joke. Caroline, do you have one for us?
Sure. Why did the scientist install a door knocker?
I don't know. Why?
Because he wanted to win the Nobel Prize.
Thanks for joining us today to learn about the Rosenbergs. We hope you enjoyed this episode of History Ignited.
Join us next time as we explore more fascinating history from Billy Joel's song, We Didn't Start the Fire. Until then, keep learning and stay curious.
And tell all your friends about our podcast, please. We want everybody to be able to hear it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
See you next time. So, Andrew, did this episode remind you of anything?
Yeah. Last year in 4th grade, we learned about the Salem witch trials, which is sort of like the Red Scare, which we talked about in episode 8, aka our one about Joe McCarthy.